With a handsome actor like Joel Edgerton, audiences typically find themselves looking at his face, or those ice blue movie star eyes. But in Train Dreams, I found myself looking at his hands, great big mitts, with thick fingers and knuckles like gnarled roots that don't get that way on their own. Over the years, I've seen more movies than I can count in which pampered actors who've never lifted an axe or changed a tire in their lives try to convince us they've spent decades in the coal mines. Edgerton feels like the real deal. In Train Dreams, the Australian actor channels the spirit of the men who tamed the American Cascades, chopping down trees and laying track. Somewhere between an elegy and an anthem, this gorgeous, almost century-spanning film was directed by Clint Bentley, one half of the creative team responsible for Sing Sing and Jockey. He co-wrote it with Greg Queter, with whom he takes turns directing. The inspiration hails from a slender, evocative novella by Dennis Johnson that honors the manual laborers who built this country, focusing on one in particular, Robert Granier, who carved out a window of happiness for a time. What must their lives have been like, these nameless laborers? Who did they love? How did they die? What questions did they ask as they stared up at the night sky, contemplating the stars or a doomsday comet? It will not surprise you that any film that puts its head to such notions owes a debt to Terrence Malick, the filmmaker who gave the medium a ruminative freedom with which to wax philosophical, even spiritual. He too considered the lives of itinerant workers, circa 1916, and now, with Train Dreams, Bentley does for the Pacific Northwest what Days of Heaven did for the Texas Panhandle, except, in this case, he spans several decades, many of the men alongside whom Granier works get by without knowing a woman's love, but in this arena, Granier is fortunate. He meets and marries Gladys, a luminous Felicity Jones, and the couple make a home for themselves along an uncultivated stream, where she raises their daughter, while dad's away cutting timber. Channeling the New World cinematographer Emmanuel Lubezki, DP Adolfo Veloso shoots these scenes at magic hour, selecting moments of simple domestic satisfaction to represent Granier's time between backbreaking gigs, idyllic souvenirs that return to him in flashes when he's away on the job, or years later, looking back. Just because Malick's influence can be felt does not mean that Bentley hasn't found his own vocabulary to tell Granier's story. At times, Train Dreams feels almost quilt-like in the way its pieces fit together, with certain sounds and images flickering briefly, almost subliminally, across our consciousness, sometimes echoing further on. The film's overarching design follows meaningful encounters, many of them with people Granier meets just once or twice, but whose words shape his understanding of the world. "Ain't there any place in this world a man can get some peace?" growls one loner, anticipating the self-isolating Jeremiah Johnson-like mentality that awaits Granier. Though Bentley casts a few known character actors and bit parts, Edgerton's rugged and authentic-looking face blends better with the unfamiliar bit players. Here on the still lawless frontier, life can be taken swiftly and without warning. Granier learns that early, stumbling across a dying man, Jockey, star Clifford Collins Jr., cut behind the knees and left for dead by the man who robbed him. Danger comes with the territory. A tree falls in the wrong direction and crushes 3 men, or white folks decide they don't like the Chinaman working alongside them and toss him off a bridge. Something about that last scenario sticks with Granier, who went along with the crowd and held the man's legs. The memory haunts his dreams, and he comes to believe that he's cursed. What else could explain the horrific turn the film takes when a wildfire breaks out? Bentley couldn't have known the devastation that would strike Southern California just weeks before his film premiered at the Sundance Film Festival this year, and yet, these natural disasters are as much a part of American life as the human impulse to expand. Train Dreams depicts that give-and-take dynamic, celebrating those who tamed the West, men whose anonymous, sunburned mugs appeared in antique photos, no bigger than Lincoln's head on the face of a penny, staring out from the base of century-old tree trunks. "It's not the Great Pyramids of Egypt," says the foreman, but clearing forests and connecting cities by rail is a feat that took countless men, the modern equivalent of constructing the Roman aqueducts or the Great Wall of China. Edgerton embodies just one of those workers, though we're not meant to assume they were all like his. Drawing carefully from Johnson's text, the script treats Granier as an individual, distinguishing him from the other characters he encounters, men like Apostle Frank, Paul Schneider, and Arne Peoples, William.